Does that kind of piss you off a little bit?
Absolutely. If I copied MOZA or if I copied Fanatec, what would I have to offer other than a lower price if everything looked the same? There's huge price difference. Yeah. And people don't understand it because, well, it's the same handles, it's the same screens, it's the same board. Yeah, but that's not where the money are hit. The money are hidden in the machining and the fact that there is a nice lady in Denmark hand building it for you. If I cannot do anything different or better than the rest, why do it? Just copy whatever others are doing. If that wins, we will pull out of the market.
Okay, super exciting. Here with Andre Eriksen from Asetek, the CEO, the founder, and we're going to talk about Forte Formula Pro. We can talk about Asetek and the exciting products, but firstly, what's this on the table here? What have you come up with now?
So this is a handbrake,
yeah,
and this is a shifter.
Okay.
As you can see, we have followed the industrial design of our wheelbases, and the difference from the aluminum side is there's T-slots on 3 sides,
okay,
so it can actually be mounted relatively easy, yes. Then we have our LED, love it or hate it, but you can always turn it off.
Well, you say love it or hate it. I like it. It shows me, but do people think it's a gimmick? Is that why?
I think the ones who doesn't like it are the ones who don't have it.
Okay.
Because people who have it, they really like it because, as you know, there's a coaching element in it. And the same here, for example, on the gearbox.
Yeah.
When you have your wheel in front of you and you use paddles, it's instantaneously. Now I'm at the right shift light, but for here, it takes physical longer time. So you will actually be able to program a second maximum RPM shift light here.
Oh, okay.
So that what you see on the wheel is the optimal shift light, but here it'll be sooner because you need it sooner here to actually.
Okay, let me understand. So it's almost predicting.
Yes, exactly, and
that's all 3 race hub.
yes, and you know this little guy. Now you have H pattern.
Yeah. Sequential H
yes,
pattern.
and then you just push a button down here, then it will swap modes.
And what product line, Lacrima?
You can see this is blank.
Yeah.
And
in the comments, please.
and the reason is that it was supposed to be Forte.
Okay.
But I'm actually positively surprised how well it turned out.
Okay.
So whether it'll be Invicta, I don't know yet.
So you're going to be engraving or the metal?
Yes, just like on the wheelbases. Availability, I would say first half of next year.
Okay.
Shipping is a big factor these days.
Yeah.
But the first half of next year, too early to talk about pricing, but I would say nothing dramatic.
PC console?
Yes.
Initium compatible? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
It's actually running with the Initium up there, so you can try it afterwards if you want, and then the new Asetek rally.
Okay. Just on this, so why shifter? Why was this a focus for you and handbrake?
Because we try to do what our customers tell us to do.
Yeah.
Within reason, of course.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just, I think, like this single make ecosystem.
Yeah.
So that has been an obvious gap.
Okay.
And we've actually been at it for many years now. Well,
okay.
We have been
the development of it.
Yeah, this is our 3rd year of revenue.
Yeah.
And then we were so we've been around for 5 years probably.
Okay.
And we've had different prototypes that we've brought to shows, etc. But I think you know me well enough already that if I cannot do anything different or better than the rest, why do it?
Yeah. Well, I think the form factor is very interesting as well because it does, in a world where a lot of wheelbases look very similar, let's say,
yes,
this actually, you could take off all the logos and you could be like, that's an Asetek product.
And that's the whole point. You know, some people like our design, some people like to hate our design. And again, what I want is that if you take our branding off,
yeah,
you can still say this is an Asetek product.
Yeah.
Because I like industrial design and I like that people can see that if you have all components from the same vendor,
yeah,
I think it's cool, it looks the same.
Yeah.
I like that. And again, if I copied MOZA or if I copied Fanatec,
yeah,
what would I have to offer other than a lower price if everything looked the same?
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's get on to that a little bit because I would say again, on the Forte Formula Pro wheel, a very unique wheel for me. There are some differences between what's out in the market, the way the screen is flush, the ability to do it in this, not a hub system, but choosing your handles, etc. Again, do you I know it's important for you, Andre, that when you do something, it has to be different, it has to be worth doing. But how do you see the wider market now, where there are a lot of wheels that look the same, coming out at similar price points? Is it more difficult for Asetek to stand out, or are you in a better position because actually your products are different?
I would say the Forte Formula Pro is actually a killer wheel for the price. I really believe that. Of course, I'm 100% biased. I'm not even trying to, but I really do believe that it is.
Even so, I think it's a problem for the Invicta.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but do we have time to just address that? Because I get a lot of, I will not necessarily call it complaints, but questions. Why is there such a big difference? The big difference is we have a lady in Denmark picking your order, purple button, yellow button, orange button, a Danish salaries, hand assembling it to your liking. It's real carbon fiber, not fake carbon. It's real carbon fiber, just aluminum housing. It takes hours to machine that. Is that bringing value to you?
And you get the custom, buttons.
Yeah, exactly. Is that bringing value to you? Only you can answer that question. But what I can tell you is, if I hand build a Ferrari compared to taking one off the shelf, there's huge price difference. And people don't understand it because, well, it's the same handles, it's the same screens, it's the same buttons. Yeah, but that's not where the money are hidden. The money are hidden in the machining and the fact that there is a nice lady in Denmark hand building it for you. Instead of a nice lady in China mass assembling it. That's the difference.
So I sense a little bit of like, and we can talk about this, because you brought out Initium now. So now you have that kind of like, you're competing at I would say the most competitive kind of level there. I agree. And so now you're full stack, right? It's a long way from the Invicta pedal where it's almost like a, hopefully not offensive, almost like a boutique product. It's like, so how do you see the market now in terms of there are products coming out at unbelievable prices? It feels like maybe a lot of consumers don't care too much about the quality because there's almost like I'm going to change my product anyway in the near future. And to me, that seems like it stands a little bit against what Asetek is for, which is we're going to make quality products that are going to work for a long time for you.
And I'm actually happy and just for those watching, this is not something we have agreed to talk about. I'm actually happy you asked that question because Asetek SimSports is an experiment for us. We make our money in our main business, that's cooling. This is an investment, and an investment has to make money at some point in time. And as I see the market now, it's actually going in two directions really fast. There's a direction of companies like ourselves, who is investing millions of dollars into research, R&D, engineering, and people can say yes or no, or they agree or disagree, but the fact is we were the first to bring out the USB pass-through. Took years to develop. Now it's, common standard.
Unless you're SimiCube, but
SimiCube went the other direction. You'll have to ask them why. We make this quick release. In my view, the easiest to use on the market. You can use third-party wheels. Our hydraulic cylinder, it's probably in 21. I was up all Christmas night, trying to solve some issues. My wife actually beat me up for that. And it's taking a lot of time and money to get where it is. Now you can go to one of our, what should we call it, Asian friends and buy it for a fraction of the price.
You don't have to use the words. Does that kind of piss you off a little bit?
Absolutely.
Because you've used patents and coolers to say, I invented this, and you're an inventor of patents.
And on the side of patents, we do take out patents. So even the Chinese companies here take out patents on their own technologies. So of course we take out patents, but it's not everything you can patent, and it's not everything that, I'm not really into taking a patent fight. I don't want to do that, but they are forcing my hand. But that's a different issue. So what I would say, if the companies win that are not spending money on R&D, they take an ODM product, slap a sticker on, or just copy whatever others are doing. If that wins, we will pull out of the market. And then who's left to innovate? So the development concerns me that pricing is everything. And, for example, our Initium set, I have had many of these meetings the last 2 days. People are amazed how good it feels for a product at that price. So in that category, I would say we are not as cheap as some of the cheapest, but we're in the ballpark. So if people still think that's too expensive, then at least cost is not the excuse. Then it's because they want the absolutely cheapest no matter what.
Yes.
And that's fair. I'm not judging. I'm just saying.
You can't compete on that basis. You won't compete.
Of course I cannot, because I have an R&D department to focus on. And you know, for example, software. Our software, that's where we spend most of our engineering budget. A lot of what's out here is just standard USB drivers and you know, SimHop, and that's it. They don't spend money on it. And if that's the future, I have no problem with it. It's just not the future for us then.
So do you think that's... we spoke before when I came to your office. I actually asked you, oh, what about the wheel of the future? I think it was the wrong question. I should have said, what is the industry of the future?
Yeah.
But do you think it's actually... what you talked about is reflective at the moment, economics generally, like it's tough for people and actually they're focusing more on cost. But then I don't understand, because there's so many really expensive wheels here that people are buying. So
exactly.
I don't understand it.
And you know, you said before that you know, the Invicta pedals are a boutique product. Of course they are. They're more than €1,000. But tell me, you can buy our Initium pedals for 100 and something euros. That's very affordable.
Yeah.
And over time you can upgrade in steps,
yeah,
all the way up to an Invicta pedal with hydraulic brakes and everything. So I think then there's something for everyone.
Yeah. But I said to you, when you told me that at the time when I went to the Initium with you, I said, I don't know yet whether people will want to do the upgrade path, or they'll just buy something cheap, sell it, get rid of it, and buy something
And I don't
new.
know either. That's still to be seen. Yeah. I'm just saying that the option is there.
Yeah. So let's talk about Initium a little bit, because it came out, you know, I reviewed it. I was really impressed by the quality. I was surprised by the comments I got on my videos, and probably everyone's videos. They don't like the look of the Initium. You must have heard that noise, that feedback, that comments. What's your view on it?
So I have two views on it. Okay. The first view is that I've heard many times people say we don't really like it, the design that is. Then they see it live. Then like, oh, it's much prettier live than what we can see on a website or on a camera.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting feedback. And number two, as I said before, if we look like everyone else, there is only price to compete on.
Yeah.
But you know, one of the new things down here, it may not be in a revolution in terms of engineering, but this is a new quick release adapter that will be sold for less than half price of what we have today.
Okay.
And what that enables you to do is to put the wheel that you love on our wheelbase for something like $70. And now I don't have anything bad to say about SimiCube. You would never get me to say anything like that. But I do know that they have taken a different path that's much more expensive. Yeah. Here, you can actually slap this on our wheelbase. As long as you have a steering wheel, the USB adapter, you can use it. Yeah. So, you know, industrial design is interesting, because here I have a picture of the Formula Pro. You've seen it. I've never heard anyone complain about that design, never. Right. This is identical design to our other wheels. The screen has just been on top. Everything else, exactly the same. Yeah. So it's a little bit funny. Yeah. And then, you know, I've heard somebody say that, oh, on the Initium, the carbon look cheap. Well, it's the same as on the Formula.
And on the back, on the...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I've never heard anyone complain.
I think in this day and age, and I'm a YouTuber, as you know, so I think people are looking for quick decisions on things.
Yes.
And so it's like they quit. And I do think on camera, it doesn't show as well on camera.
No.
It's the same, for example, with the some carbon, like the Mustang, the VPG Mustang wheel, also does not look good on camera, but in person you can appreciate.
But you know it yourself, for real cars, there are Ferraris, for example, that look super ugly on a picture. Yeah. And then when you see it, it's actually... So that's of course why we're here, to show people so they can make a decision on their own. And then, you know, let's just face it, people on social media,
guilty.
People like to hate stuff. Just as well, I hate it. This is ugly. This is bad. This is.
Well, I did see some very poor reviews of the Initium product line, and maybe because it's entry level, I was surprised by people not mounting it properly, etc. Yeah. But well, you know, I went down to I saw Richard at SimLab. I did a blind test against the SimiCube. That was quite controversial. I've had a lot of people saying that doesn't make sense, but I thought it was something different. But again, I'm trying to... by the way, I sense a lot of different philosophies here. Yeah. Because you said at the beginning, we think that we want people to have the option that everything is available in the Asetek ecosystem. Yeah. Here, you're making available different ecosystems. It feels like, again, we don't necessarily really know what people want. but we're offering things. And
But I also think there is no one shoe fits all. People all have different budgets, different needs. You know, I have friends with more money than shit. Sorry, my friends. They want a simulator.
yeah,
But they could never dream about buying any of this very high-end stuff because it's just too complicated.
okay,
They have the money to buy it.
Yeah.
But guess what? They want to push the button and drive.
Yeah.
They don't even want to bother with a PC or upgrading Windows, or upgrading drivers. So there is no such thing as one shoe fits all.
Okay, so one final thing I want to ask you, and then I think anything you want to say, you can say it as well, because I'm sure it's going to be an exciting video. There was an insane sale recently on La Prima.
Yes.
Like, it sold out within a day. What was the idea there? Because that was genuinely one of the biggest sales I've ever seen.
Yeah, but it was super simple. As you know, we have the tariff situation in the US. We built up inventory for the US market already last year.
Yeah.
Since the tariff situation has not really rectified itself, things doesn't turn into mahogany when they're in inventory. So it was just a quick decision. Let's do a sale up to the trade show here and get rid of it. And it sold out.
Yeah.
Like
So sometimes you've got to pay attention for these deals. And selling into the US.
And here I have a funny comment.
Okay.
Some people don't like our design. But when it's cheap enough, they apparently
They'll
do.
buy it. That's a good experiment to do. Really.
Oh yeah, but it's sold out like crazy. I mean, but some people believe we only had a few of them.
Yeah.
No, we had a lot of them.
Okay. Maybe some flashbacks to Fanatec in the past, maybe, let's say. But also on Initium, we've seen, for example, RevoSim in a similar price range, discounting by €100, now discounting by €200. I wonder if people are trying to discover, hang on, how price sensitive people really are.
For us, we are not participating in a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
First of all, we are a public company. So if people want to know how much we earn on our products, they can go and look it up in our books. It's not even hidden. But for right now, Sim for us is a loss-making business.
Yeah.
And it will be for a while. So that's one thing. The other thing, on the Initium, we have to make room for distribution. And for the retail, the Initium line is now on its way. I think we are in the first media market. I think we are on our way into KIRETH'S.
Okay.
I think, or we are already into Elkjøp, which is the biggest retail chain in Scandinavia. So to make room for the margins in that, we cannot sell it cheaper. I mean,
because you have to sell to them. You have to sell
I have to sell to the distribution that sells to the retailers. So if there should be anything left for us, we cannot go lower.
But the retailers will also, with their economies at Christmas and places, they will do their deals, etc.
Yeah, but I think for what we are doing here, it may be a little bit more expensive than Logitech and THRUSTMASTER, but it's also a level above.
And do you envisage that in the shop at Media Market when you have the boxes?
Yeah.
Do you envisage this is actually something nice that you can take away in a box?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's an important...
Absolutely. I think that there are all differences, but if you look at, I don't even want to talk about the brand, but there's another brand that we all know, and I have nothing against them, but they have another philosophy. They just sell to everyone who wants to buy, but that's not necessarily what the retailers want. So therefore, we have the opportunity of being selective about our channels, that we can have our products out retail where the competition is simply not there.
Yeah, so you want to, so you have to protect that. So
Yes.
Other companies, D2C, can do kind of crazy things.
Yes.
But okay. Just one thing on that, you talk about sim sports a few times. Do you come under any? Because I've spoken to you before, and with Valdemir, I know how much. So I know with you and Valdemir how much racing is in your blood.
Yes.
Let's say. Do you come any under pressure in Asetek from people saying, "Hey, why are we spending so much time and money on sim racing?" Or is that because it's at the moment it's loss making?
Yeah, but I would say investors, shareholders who think that, they are completely wrong. Because yes, we have done a lot of racing. We're very passionate about racing, but with Asetek Sim Sports, I have just created more work for myself. It's not. I'm not getting there living my passion. My passion is not. It is professional passion. But on the weekends, I was not doing sim racing. I was doing real racing. That's where my passion is.
Yeah.
Because of that experience, we have now entered sim racing, and our main business. I don't know if you saw it, but we just put out a stock exchange release that we just landed a $35 million order, yeah, on liquid cooling. So that is our main
the new technology.
Yeah. Yeah, but what I'm getting at, the liquid cooling business, it took 12 years before it was profitable.
Really?
When you start a new business from scratch, like we have done here, also with sim racing, it just takes time.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong or odd or weird in that. You could actually, I mean, you can agree or disagree if Asetek should be within sim racing or not, but what you can also say from the positive perspective, okay, Andre, he actually saw it years before the big brands, Corsair, Thermaltake, Cooler Master, all of these guys are coming in now. We have already been in there.
That's true, actually. And I think when you think, no disrespect to Cooler Master or Thermaltake, etc., but when you think of some of these brands, you think of them really as PC brands. But with Asetek, you think of as a sim racing brand.
Yes.
So I think you do deserve some credit for how you have positioned them.
I'm glad you can see that, because our products are not ODM rebranded products. You've been at our facilities. You've seen how we develop products. Everything is done from the bottoms up.
Yeah. Well, amazing talk with you, Andre. I think you've got to catch a plane. I don't think there's anything final that you want to say to your fans, because we know that the Asetek fans, they swear by like the Forte base is like the best base of the budget.
You know, I love you guys. I think it's great. You appreciate what we do. And the best thing, and that'll be my closing remark, yesterday a German guy came in, waiting 2 hours for me with a 40-pound Invicta wheelbase in his backpack, just waiting for me to sign it.
Oh, really?
It's a pretty humbling experience.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Well, thanks so much, Andre.
Yeah, you're
Great as
welcome.
always. I would really love to have these chats in the future as well, because
Absolutely.
I think you're the frankest person who talks about the industry, and I think it's really refreshing and everyone appreciates it.